Hey y'all, welcome to Culture Cult. My name's Marie. I am the host of the show, and welcome back to any fans, any listeners. But if you are new to the show and you're like, what's this all about? Essentially, Culture Cult is a podcast where we tell really crazy history stories from all 197 countries. And it's also just to admit you don't know much about the world, but this is your place to admit that and to learn about everyone's culture, because everyone's culture should be learned about. But this is actually not a country episode. This is not one of our travel stories episode. This is a new series we're doing called Weird World News, because the news is depressing and I don't even watch it because it's so depressing, and I'm not trying to bum anyone out, but I will find weird fucking news that I found around the world, and I will share it with y'all. So today we have on my Uncle Brian and his girlfriend Ashley, and I'm so excited to have them on. We did this on my back porch, so you're gonna hear just some nice backyard cricket action. And also, by the way, I don't have all the equipment that I needed for this episode, so we're working off 2 mics with 3 people. So just keep that in mind if the audio is a little bit wonky. But anyways, today I will say the theme of the episodes is definitely wacky inventions gone wrong. From one guy who jumped off the Eiffel Tower to one of my new favorite obsessions to learn about, which is the Titanic Submarine. So we are covering those stories today, and cheers and enjoy. Welcome on, Brian and Ashley. Brashley.
Brashley is our stage name.
Welcome on, Brashley. First time on the pod.
That's right.
And, okay, people don't know you, so say 3 random things about yourself, or maybe just a weird fact about yourself.
Okay, what the weirdest fact about me is that I'm dating Brian Ritchie. And another weird thing about me is that I don't like any condiments, and I never have.
What?
Yeah, I'm a plain burger person. I don't like any condiments. I never have.
I've actually never met anyone like that.
And when I was younger, we would go to McDonald's, and if you ordered a plain burger, you would have to pull up to the dumpster and wait for them to bring it to the car. And so my dad would have us all go, and he would say, everybody can order whatever they want as long as it's not plain.
They actually exiled you.
Yeah. He would say, wipe it off. And everyone that is a plain eater knows you cannot scrape it off.
Plain eater.
You cannot.
Okay. Well, that's our weird news for the day. And that's the end of the podcast. Thank you, guys.
Good times.
Edit all this out.
Okay. Well, let's start with our first story.
Okay.
I really would be surprised if y'all knew this, because I didn't know this. But did y'all know that the original London Bridge isn't in London today?
Where is the London Bridge right now?
Okay. Y'all can take one guess, and then I'll tell you.
I'm going to guess that it's in Ireland.
Oh, wow. They would not like that.
They wouldn't at all.
Okay. Where's your guess?
What was the question?
Oh, my God.
Where do you think the London Bridge is?
In a museum somewhere in Scotland.
Scotland.
Both people who don't want it. It's actually in Arizona.
Wow, I
And
would
why
not.
would
I
those
did not
Arizonans
think that.
have
I
any
would
interest
have
in that
never.
either?
If you had a gun to my head, I would not have said Arizona.
Right?
Right.
Also, it's like it doesn't fit there.
No, it's like the opposite climate.
Yeah, it's
too.
like desert.
So is it the entirety of the bridge?
Okay, I'm going to read you what the thing says. It says the original London Bridge was from the 1600s, but there were lots of fires, blah, blah, blah. And then the new London Bridge opened in 1831, and it stayed there for about 130 years. So it was like a good bridge. And it even survived the London bombings during World War II. So it was good. But then in 1960, there was a lot of cars on it, and it started to just start sinking.
No.
And so they were like, well, we got to get rid of the bridge. And so they were like, well, what do we do with it? Like, who?
Let's call up Arizona.
Yeah, who wants it? They're like, let's call people who like to buy things. They're like, let's call the Americans. And Robert P. McCulloch was like, I'll buy it. And they're like, will you buy it for $2.4 million? And he was like, yeah.
And what year was that?
1960 something.
Wow, that still seems
That's a lot of money.
relatively cheap.
For I guess for the London Bridge.
Bridge. I mean, I thought you were going to be like,
That's like a house in California.
yeah.
I'd have to
That's-
see how
that's a
much
steal.
of this bridge and where exactly they put it.
It's somewhere. It's in Lake Havasu. Havasu. It's in Lake Havasu,
which
City.
is near Tahoe, I believe.
Oh, so it's up there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's in northern Arizona. And he just bought it because he wanted people to come to the lake.
I mean, I would go for that. Let's go to Lake Havasu and see the London
The
Bridge, kids.
Right?
What if it's just like one little small section of a bridge?
It's just like a brick.
Yeah.
It's like one stone.
No, it was 10,000 tons. They moved the whole bridge there.
How did they fly it over?
No, they like dismembered it and then put it
my
back.
Lord.
Oh.
I just
Is that not the right word?
Some harsh
Seems-
language.
yeah, that's hard.
I don't know if
Wait,
that's
how
the
much? What
word.
other word? Embarked?
Assembled it? I don't
Disassembled.
know. Perhaps.
I totally prefer dismembered. I will use that from now on.
Okay, our next country we're talking about is Iceland. Short little story. Article is from grapevine.is from 2006. It's called Man Goes Berserk in Tanning Salon. So, employees of a tanning salon called Salon Ibiza alerted police when one of their clients burst from the tanning booths naked and went berserk. According to Visor, the man arrived with some friends and apparently fell asleep while getting a tan. When his friends attempted to wake him up, the man was having a nightmare, sprung from the tanning bed, threw a trash can at employees, knocked over the displays of merchandise, and ran out the door naked. Police were called and then arrested him.
I have been burned in the tanning bed to the point where I did feel like I could have lost my mind.
No, yeah.
But I'm Irish.
I think there's probably two potential. One of them being that that was a really, really bad dream.
Mm-hmm.
So bad that he went nuts over nothing and he's a really emotional guy or something. And the other one is that he just didn't want to pay for it.
Well, I think you pay before you go in. And I don't know, with
Yes,
the dream thing, like, you have to look. That thing is heavy.
Heavy. You're like in a tube.
Right. A coffin, if
Yeah.
you will. And I don't know if you're really going to be in the same dreamlike state after lifting the coffin open off of, right?
I think it's the heat. I think because falling asleep.
So it's like he had like a heat stroke.
No, I think like he wakes up, he's hot and like burnt, and he's in this tube,
Right.
and he's like, "What the fuck am I?"
Right.
The Matrix problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see it all the time.
Maybe because he's a naked man in a woman's tanning salon unit.
But like the fact that like he got arrested, and I also reminds me my friend Dalel, she went in for one tanning bed time. She was like, I'm gonna go do it, though she's like my color. I don't know why she's doing it.
Right.
And the lady was like, oh, okay, yeah, just go in that booth, use this tanning lotion. I got it all set up for you. She goes in, she's in there for like 10, 20 minutes actually. That's kind of a long time. And they had set on the highest setting.
Oh, they set the setting for her.
And they
And
put her in
she
for like
burned?
20 minutes, and she had got like degree burns, and she had to go to the hospital.
Like from the tanning salon straight to the hospital?
Yeah, but I talked to my other friend Megan, who used to work there, and she was like, if it's your first time at a tanning salon, you're not supposed to like start past level 5.
Right.
And for like 10 minutes, and she was like 20 minutes at the highest level.
And that tanning cream they give you most likely is accelerator.
Yeah.
Always. The last time I tanned in a tanning bed, I went home and I thought I had a nice glow to me. I did not realize it was like radioactive until I woke up at 1 a.m. and it felt like bees were stinging me all over my body. I had been baked alive. That was the last time I was tan.
Okay, so next story. So this isn't from France. And so this is a short little story about a man named Franz Reichelt who jumped off the Eiffel Tower.
Buckle up.
So this story happens in France, but Franz is not French. He's Austrian. He was born in 1878, right at the turn of the century, which was when aviation was taking off.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, wow, this is...
So was he.
Yeah. So was he. But he was like, oh, okay, for my job, I'll just tailor and do clothes. And I'm in Paris, so I'll just do fashion stuff. But he's like really getting to aviation stuff. And he keeps hearing about how all these people are taking off and their planes crashing and people are dying because they don't have the right kind of parachutes.
Right.
And he's like, oh, well, I'm a tailor. So I'm going to create a parachute that they've never seen before.
Oh, no. I think I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. So he was like, that's his new obsession. His friends are like, damn, he talks a lot about parachutes. And he's like, no, seriously, guys, like, this is it. I'm going to make the parachute. And so he decides to test it on some dummies first from his Parisian apartment. I think it's probably like, let's say like second, third floor. Drops the dummies. They crash. And then he himself is like, well, I'll try it.
Has anyone successfully parachuted prior to this?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So he's not inventing the parachute. He wants to create his own
Gotcha.
version.
Okay. Like a Chanel parachute.
Yeah. A fancy one.
A black and white one.
Yeah. So he throws dummies off his apartment and the parachute doesn't open. And he's like, oh, it's the weight. I have to put myself in the parachute. So then he jumps from his apartment, just drops like a nickel. That's not even a good thing.
I can see
a
it.
nickel? Maybe.
I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah, because the nickel is the fattest of all the coin.
Yeah, exactly. So breaks his leg. And he's like, okay, it's not the weight, it's the height. So he's like, all right, apartment, that ain't it. I'm going to jump off the Eiffel Tower.
Wow. So you break your leg at one story, and your go-to response to that is, let's go to the Eiffel Tower.
The tallest building
are there
probably
no
ever.
hills
I mean, that is intense.
Tried this out on in France.
The leap to
Maybe.
go from a one-story apartment to the Eiffel Tower.
I think it's probably like the
is
tallest
quite-
building of that time, probably.
I would hope so.
This is like 1910,
Right.
by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is. So that is quite a leap.
Pun point. I give pun points on the podcast. So you get one.
Oh, girl. Really?
Well, no, I don't. Listen, I don't like puns.
Oh.
So you just happen to get a good one.
Oh, it's
That was actually good. So I'll give you a pun point.
Oh, okay. So it's a risk.
I'll tell you if I don't like it.
It's a risk, really.
Yeah.
Challenge.
It's a challenge
Okay.
because I don't fucking like him.
Oh,
But that was good.
game on.
Okay, so he's like, all right, guys, I'm going to do the Eiffel Tower. This is my fate. I'm going to prove to y'all my parachute is the best. So, yeah. So he's like, well, I got to probably ask the cops first about it. And their cops were like, fuck no.
Right.
And then people around him in his like scene and in the aviation scene were like, no, it doesn't work. And he was like, no, you haven't seen it yet from at its potential. Everyone's saying no. And he was like, I'm just going to fucking do it. And so somehow the cops agreed to it. Probably money. I don't know.
I think maybe you should have researched that part. This is important to me to know whether he paid off the police or they willingly gave him security, which
I don't
might
know.
make more sense.
See, if I was a cop, I'd be like, I don't want my name on the report that I said yes.
What day are you doing this? Yes, I'd like off on Saturday, please. October 17th. I'll be there as a spectator only.
So, date was set February 4th, 1912. This man, Franz, will jump off the Eiffel Tower in front of journalists, friends, an entire crowd, and
So
the
now
cops.
they've made an event out of it, which is even more egregious. It's not that you can do it. Well, we might as well get some publicity for it,
Yeah.
right? Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's like an event. And so before his jump, he states, quote, my new invention is like nothing else. It's constructed basically half waterproof fabric, half silk. Thanks to a system of rods and belts that one can control, the parachute deploys during the fall and will save a pilot's life.
all claim for a tall building.
Yes. Is that a
Jump
pun?
off.
No,
Nope.
that wasn't a pun.
No.
It was just
Unless you know it is one, then it is not.
okay. Like I didn't know if I liked it or not.
That's
but
right. See how I play it safe?
So he also had a motivation for this, not just for his ego, but there was a reward for 10,000 francs for anyone that could create a safety parachute for aviators that did not exceed 25 kilograms in weight. I think there is a reward.
And the only way you could prove that you were worthy of the reward, I guess, would be to do it and show them.
Yeah.
How else are you going to claim the reward?
But I feel like you also can make a really heavy dummy and be like, this worked. I feel like you don't have to do it.
Yeah, Ash.
So back to the day it happens. It's a very cold morning. It's February 4th, 1912. This was his day. He's going to show his friends,
Oh, my God.
the haters.
I feel like the cold weather is going to be a detriment. I don't know. I got a
A
feeling.
good point.
Something's not going to work.
Something's not going to be right.
Y'all are the haters.
That's not
Y'all
me.
don't believe in Franz.
You believe
I
in
have a lot of faith in Franz.
Get your
Yeah.
popcorn. Somebody's
like-
about to jump off the Eiffel Tower.
That's what he's
He
talking
was
about.
the OG influencer.
He was the
Or
OG
the Chanel
influencer.
parachute.
Yeah.
The Chanel shoot.
Chanel shoot.
That was a pun.
Oh, that was cute. You're good at them. Okay, pun point.
Oh my God, I got another
You got two. That's actually crazy because I really don't hand these out. You can ask my friend Cal if he's listening. I gave him like one a season.
I see you, Cal.
I see you, Cal. So y'all are haters. Y'all don't think he's gonna make it.
I did not say
I think
that.
he's dead.
Actually, staying very
$10,000
neutral.
that he's dead right now.
So one hater, one believer. Good. I know the story, so I can't say anything.
Right.
So no one in the crowd, though, seems very excited about this. He does have a crowd, but everyone's like, ugh.
Right.
And everyone's kind of horrified, and people are
Right.
like, stop. And he's like, no. And they're like, stop. And he's like, no, I have to prove myself and my invention. And he says to his doubters, quote, you are going to see how my parachute will give your arguments the most decisive of denials. So once he assumed position at 200 feet and on the Eiffel Tower, looking over the crowd, he was facing the icy wind, and he hesitated just a little bit.
That was his demise.
And the wind was hitting him.
The cold weather.
The cold weather was hitting his face, and but he did turn around to his friends and he said, "See you soon," in French.
Oh.
And he jumped. And in fact, the parachute did not open.
Just a couple of broken legs, all right?
And wrapped itself around him. The opposite.
That still could work.
Oh my God, the
still
worst.
work.
It could still work.
It literally wrapped him up like a burrito and
Why
torpedoed
are you
him.
making fun of his misfortune.
Oh my God. It's
Yeah,
like an
and he
oil
lived.
drilling Into,
Thank
oh.
goodness.
He actually lived.
Yep.
What kind of life
It's like
is
a
that?
cocoon. He was like
Yeah,
wrapped
it
like a
like
cocoon.
bounced him,
He
bounced
lived
into
the
the
rest
air.
of his life like a cocoon.
Wow.
All right. What
No,
kind of
y'all, he
life did
died.
this oh, he did. Okay, thank God.
What?
I mean,
What was that?
he died.
He died.
That's horrible.
Honey.
He plummeted to his death like a burrito torpedo.
Bless him.
He made an
Bless
impact.
him. Okay, that's kind of good. I fuck before I can stop.
I dare say you've met your match, madam.
Fuck. 10 point. That was good. Yeah. So Franz Reichelt died. His friends were like, The cops were like,
And that's how World War I started.
yeah.
That was Ferdinand.
Oh, sorry.
But the cops actually said, no, we never told him he could do that. And you can actually watch it on YouTube.
Oh, what?
Yep. Live.
Whoa. Somebody filmed it back then, and you can see him torpedo into
You can watch it on YouTube. I'll post it on the Instagram.
Okay, I want to see it.
Yeah, it's like a silent film. So it's like not, like if someone filmed it today, I would not watch it because it's too gritty.
Right.
In detail.
Yes, you would. The noise, the sound.
Everything.
But without the sound, I think it's fine.
Well,
right?
it's also like distorted and like black and white, and it just looks like
Right.
a blob falling.
Well, maybe I don't care about seeing it.
You really can watch it though, and like they like pick up his body.
Oh, they don't
afterwards.
cut the tape off before they.
No, like they have to pick up his broken body, and his
Oh my
friends are
God.
there.
And
It's
they're
actually
still
fucked.
filming it.
Yeah, they filmed that part too. There's no rules back then for journalism. They're
You're
like,
right.
they had no editor.
Right.
It was just raw.
Yep.
But you can watch it on YouTube. His name's Franz Reichelt if you feel like watching it.
I mean, I think I would like to watch it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know what that
Tells me
says
a lot
about
about
me.
you. It tells me a lot.
Our last story, this one is more of a discussion. What do y'all think about the Titanic submarine?
Oh, so much.
I know, same.
So much. Oh my gosh. Did you give her a heads up on this?
Okay, because I was going to do the Mexican alien story, but then I was like, wait, no.
I'm more about the
Me too. So before I'm going to read off Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. I'm into that.
Okay, so this is like just for people who don't know about it, and then you can always watch a documentary on it. But so it happened June 18th, 2023. Titan, a submersible operated by the American tourism and expeditions company OceanGate, imploded during an expedition to view the wreck of the Titanic. It was off of Newfoundland, Canada. On board the submersible was Stockton Rush, the CEO of OceanGate, Paul Henry Nargiolet, a French sea explorer. So sorry, I definitely butchered your name. And then Titanic expert Hamish Harding, British businessman Shahzada Dawood, and Pakistani British businessman and Dawood's son Suleiman. So there's 5 people on this submarine. So communication between Titan and the mothership Polar Prince was lost an hour and 45 minutes into the dive. Authorities were alerted when it was failed to resurface at the scheduled time later that day. After the submersible has been missing for 4 days, they discovered debris about 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic. And they know that it imploded, and it caused instantaneous deaths of all 5 occupants.
First of all, they knew it imploded before they put the search team out there.
Yes! Okay, but my source is from TikTok, so I feel like I don't know if that's real.
Doesn't matter. Mine too. And then my
Same guy.
favorite part of the story, I think, is the part where the British billionaire's stepson went out and tried to get some PR and some OnlyFans ladies to show him some skin because his billionaire stepdad was lost in the ocean.
Oh, yeah. I forgot
Remember that part of the story? It was so crazy and creepy. He was like all over doing. Oh, and then he went to that Dave Matthews concert. Remember that? And he posted it on all over social media while they were actively searching for his stepdad.
He must not have liked his stepdad.
I guess not. And then the
Strong.
OnlyFans girl did him wrong, and she screenshotted his like message to her of,
Good.
"Hey, my stepdad is missing. Can you give me a free 30 minutes or whatever?"
Ew.
And she exploited him. But I mean, those to me are the best parts about these stories because you can't make that stuff up. Anyway, so back to the sad part of the story. I really felt sad that also the son of the other business, the only one that
Yeah.
was like 18 years old,
Yeah.
did not even want to go.
Oh, what?
He did not want to go, and his dad was like a Titanic, just, fanatic about it, yes. And this was his dream that he wanted to do, but the son, his actual son, was scared, obviously.
Yeah, I would not go.
Could you imagine making Noah do this with you? And then he would, but he would not like it, just like this young man didn't. But anyway, so...
Why are you bringing me into this?
I'm just saying, could you imagine, like, that's about the same age, and, like, he's scared out of his mind, but he's doing it because it's his dad, and his dad is like, I want us to have this moment together, and how heartbreaking is that for the mom?
Are you certain
and the wife?
that the kid didn't say, "Hey, I want to do it," and he says, "Well, I'm going with you"? Are you
No,
sure that's
I
not what
am
happened?
certain that the son did not want to go. More certain than I've ever been about anything in my life. I'm just kidding.
like,
I mean, I read
my
it.
face, I was like,
You read it.
I
read it on the internet, so
I
I know
read it.
it's facts.
I read it on Reddit, okay?
I read it on
And
Reddit.
They said that he did not want to
They
go.
had complete subreddits full of people that knew this for a fact.
Totes did not want to go, okay?
this is not a casual thing to do with your son. It's not like,
No. But
oh, let's
it's
go to
also
like...
a billionaire, so I mean, this is probably like taking him to,
You're
whitewater
now,
rafting
Now
or
we're
something.
going with now wealth envy.
But since they are so wealthy, this guy, the millionaire, like his adrenaline levels are so high.
Yes, I mean, it's relative to what your playground is, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like for us, it's like, what? But for them, it's like, hey, we got a spot for $500,000. What a steal for the two of us to go. So I feel like some of that billionaire mentality, you almost have to be a thrill seeker like that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? To be
Risk.
able to be like a risk taker. And so, I mean, I think that's probably not.
This is nothing compared to freestyle diving. Sorry.
Oh,
Sometimes I think about this at night before I go to sleep is, did they know? Was there a warning and they were like, well, we're
oh
screwed?
God.
Or was it just like, bam, you know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
when I remember is like they were a point where like they were like, you need to come up, and he's like,
Right.
okay, and so then they start to come up with the
the
fan.
GameStop controllers.
Oh my, that
The Nintendo
that
controller.
right there.
Right.
He is directing this entire thing with a game controller.
And did you see where there were two other people that went down in the years prior and they were like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I cannot believe I will never go in the ocean again as long as I live.
Yeah.
Like they were so traumatized by the whole experience because they were like, this is a nightmare about to happen. I want to
Excuse.
know where all the money went from the people that bought the tickets, if that's what you're using
Right?
inside the submersible.
That is a $25
Who is
remote.
sitting on $550 billion right now from all the people that have gone down there in your
Creating highly pressurized
$20,000 rocket ship.
No, yeah. And also like the whole thing with the carbon fiber. Like
Right.
he used a material that is not flexible.
And that was another question I had is like when they went down, they said it was like dark and silent and they're just going down to, and that's when you know, like, you're screwed. Like, how do you process that when you're in that situation? And then, another thing they said is that once it went down and it lost its, trajectory abilities, that everybody fell on top of each other. They lost power and they torpedoed down like Franz.
Really just bring in Franz on this?
No, they're the same person. They're egotistical inventors.
That's right.
Both people, they were like, that's not going to work. It's failed. It's failed. And they were like, no, it isn't. My name's attached to it.
True narcissists.
Narcissist.
Whoa. But you have to, if you're going to ever succeed, you have to pass through failures. So they could have been just people that didn't want to give up, unfortunately.
Which
No.
is why we're talking about them 100 years later. So they got their due.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, you don't have to drag other people into it, though.
No, that's right.
You could have just done that shit yourself.
You didn't have to bring your son, who had his whole life ahead of him,
Yeah,
and that
that's
inheritance, might I add.
Oh, my God.
Had he survived. It's like the stepson who's living his best life right now. That
Sorry.
OnlyFans model. I mean, that mom and wife of that Indian billionaire, that was their only son. They had been married for 20 years. He was 18.
But these people did not have to go down to see the Titanic. Another thing is, so I'm really into submarine stuff because I would never do this shit. And James Cameron and a bunch of other people have made it to the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
Right.
Like, on, the Titanic's not even that deep.
Right.
And they're probably just watching this horror show and be like, what are you fucking doing?
Well, there were a lot of people that came out and said that guy, as good looking as he was, might I add, Sterling Rush. Hello.
Maybe.
If you were still alive, call me. But I think that his arrogance and, I mean, just ridiculousness. I don't even know if it was greedy as much as just
ego.
Yeah, like
He's just a reincarnated Franz.
Yes, that's right.
Franz, sorry.
Franz.
Yes,
It's too
with
much
his
died.
Chanel cape that didn't open.
You know what? Because if you're believing in reincarnation, it literally could have been his soul just repeating. And like, this time, you're going to learn your lesson, right? He was like, I'm going to build a submarine. And they're like, no.
Has a Sisyphus-ish sound to it.
Sisyphus. It is. He just keeps repeating himself. Next life, he's going to do another crazy invention. And everyone's like, no. And maybe he'll actually listen.
Maybe the next one's going to be space.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Okay. I'm ready.
I have found said news of the weird. Whoa. Reza Baluchi just can't stop getting in trouble with the U.S. Coast Guard, NPR reported. The Iranian-born man from Florida was arrested on August 29th after officers tried for 3 days to convince him to abandon his plan, running across the Atlantic Ocean in a hamster wheel, with his final destination being London, England, 4,000 miles from his starting point. He tried similar stunts in 2014, 2016, and 2021, quote, all of which resulted in the U.S. Coast Guard intervention, said Coast Guard Special Agent Michael Perez. In short documentary made about Baluchi by Vice, he explained his motivation. If you drive a boat, nobody cares. Bubble, nobody did before. Make me crazy. They stop me every time. They save my life. I don't know, need it. Save my life. After the 2016...
What language is
The Coast Guard sank Baluchi's bubble.
Oh my
so
God.
he redesigned and built a new one.
Wait a minute.
He
They
faces charges
sank
of
it?
obstruction of
They
boarding
blew it
and
up.
violation of
I
captain.
thought they were there to
of port
save him.
order.
You know what you did? You just tied in all of our stories because Franz
That's Franz.
was, first of all, they tried to hinder him and then they shot him down basically by saying, go ahead and do it. And then you brought the story of the titanium from the ocean in because the hamster wheel was on the ocean. Damn!
So that is just Franz reincarnated.
That is Franz,
But-
like you said.
Hamster. Hamster guy. He hasn't really failed. We actually haven't seen him fail. So
Well, I mean, he had the Coast Guard shooting his apparatus down. I think
That's
he's close to
fucked.
failing.
wait, I'm kind of on team hamster wheel because like
Right.
let's let him be.
But I mean, how scary to have it shot down. Was he in it? Like, oh my God. That's a little, that is rude.
That's
AF.
fucked.
I think what they're trying to say is when we say no, we mean no.
I guess so.
I don't know why they care.
I know. Let the man be.
They had to kill him to protect him.
They didn't kill him.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I
Oh
mean,
my
it's
God.
just like the cops at the Eiffel Tower. They kind of killed Franz. It was like, well, if we can't protect you, we're at least going to have a team of people out here to watch you do it. And then we're going to video it.
Evil Knievel.
I'm sorry. I think the hamster guy's different than Franz.
The hamster
I
guy
fixed the
got
sign
his
fault.
wheel shot down.
hamster.
I'm team hamster. So
But it
why
needs
would
some
the
pretty
Coast
good
Guard not
balances.
just let it play out? Why are we
It's always,
wasting
no matter where,
ammunition?
everything's smelled.
My question
Good
is:
to go.
people swim the English Channel, dangerous
That's
all
right.
the time. No hamster wheel,
That's
and
right.
they have little boats that follow them.
Yep,
And then
and
you
a
get
camera
an award.
crew.
You get an award.
You do.
Olympians do
certainly.
crazy shit. Hamster guy did. He actually wasn't trying to get anyone's attention. He was like, "I'm
It's
gonna just
because he went rogue and didn't get sponsorship, if you will.
go." Oh, no money.
That's right.
Do you have any basis for this hypothesis?
Yes.
What would be that? Since you just heard the story for the first time.
Who's his sponsor? Who else do they shoot down? I didn't see anyone behind him. Marie clearly said he was out there and he got shot down by the Coast Guard.
God.
Well, I mean, with no one else doing
It would have
what he
been
was
plastered
doing.
all over media if he had had a camera crew.
Imagine if
sponsoring
Coca-Cola sponsored him and they're like, you
him. First
shot
of all,
him
we
down.
would not have shot him down if he had had a sponsorship crew behind him.
That's actually
We
fucking
don't
true.
we don't do it that way.
That's so true.
That's right.
He was rogue. He was grassroots.
That's right. We can't have that.
Why are y'all so upset? You said he lived
Like,
to
are
tell
you
the story.
kidding me with that? I get out there, I build my own hamster wheel, and I am making it go, and you come out and shoot me? My own people.
But back to the sponsor thing, there's been like children, like 16-year-old children that have sailed around the world.
With the right sponsorship,
With the
you
right
can do
Sponsorship,
anything.
Sailing is protected.
Brian, are you team hamster wheel?
I'm going to have to withdraw my support. It's just too much heat. I support the official action of whatever crime he committed.
So you're the
Whatever
Navy guy.
retribution was endured, I felt like was appropriately needed and applied. That is my final statement for whoever is listening.
So what was your favorite story?
Oh my God, my favorite part of the podcast. This is my favorite part. Talking about my favorite part. Always is my favorite part, as you know. But my favorite part, I think, was my 2 positives on the puns because Kyle did not get this.
Yeah, Kyle. You have some competition.
I'm sorry, Kyle, but I'm coming for you.
Okay, what do you have to say to our listeners? We got listeners from like
All over the world.
we got Australia.
Oh my God, Australia is my other home. It's full on. I have a special place in my heart for Australia.
You watching? Are you watching
Sorry,
Love on the
stay
Spectrum? Australia.
I have not. Oh my God!
What
how
are you doing?
Watching it in Australia?
No, that's the original seasons in Australia. It's the best one. Well, y'all heard it here first. Ashley loves Australia. And I just also want to say thank you to specifically Sydney and Adelaide who have been listening. Shout out to y'all. Ashley loves y'all. I also want to do a quick shout out to a Australian podcast that I found. It's so good. If you like this show, you're going to love that one. It's called True Hauntings. It's these 2 like giggly Australian women who tell ghost stories. It's also really well done. So little Australian recommendation for y'all. And yeah, thank y'all for listening to the episode. I'm curious which was your favorite story that we told. You can leave a comment on the Spotify poll or just hit me up on Instagram, which is at culturecultshow, and let me know which story you thought was crazy or what your ideas are on this Titanic submarine, because I will geek out with you over that stuff. But in general, share the podcast. If you love it, review it. If you really love it, share it with a friend. And thank y'all so much for listening, and cheers till next time, y'all.